Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to a special report brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand. This is where we look at 11 charts for 2011. We find an interesting chart and we dig through it, explain what it means for the economy and for our readers, and throw it forward a couple of years. And this chart is a cracker. This is one that has dominated the debate about closing the gap with Australia. It shows two lines that travel very closely together. New Zealand's migration rate to Australia and then the gap between incomes. What this essentially says is that as wages rise in Australia, and you can see here how they've continued to rise, particularly over the last 20 to 30 years, the rate of migration has increased. What does that say? New Zealanders see wages much higher across the Tasman and they migrate. So what's that going to mean for New Zealand? And this is why we have to narrow that gap. If the gap continues to rise, and frankly it has again in the last couple of years, as we've been in recession while Australia is kept out of recession, in fact is now seeing its biggest mining boom in more than 100 years, that's blown that gap out from maybe 25-30% to maybe 30-35%, in some cases 40%, as that migration gap is going to continue increasing. And in fact we've seen that in the last couple of months. The trend growth in New Zealanders leaving to go and live in Australia has increased. What does that mean for our population? It effectively means a hollowing out of our population. Those people who are the most productive ages, in the middle of that production bracket between 18 and 65, they're the ones who are leaving. And often they're the ones with the highest levels of skill and entrepreneurial drive and the ability to earn lots of money and to pay taxes. We risk having a hollowed out workforce and a hollowed out economy where we have lots of people who are retired, quite a few beneficiaries, some people who are new migrants to New Zealand, but not many people who've lived and grown up here, have an education here, and are able to produce income and taxes to support the rest. This is why New Zealand needs to grow its economic growth rate much faster to try and catch up with Australia. Or come up with another policy, a plan B. What if we don't narrow the gap with Australia? What is our point of difference? How do we keep the population stable? Do we increase migration at a great rate of knots? All questions that no doubt will be put to John Key in the election come November. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was the 6th of our top 11 charts for 2011, brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand.